This episode is sponsored by State Farm. Choices are great. Like with your podcasts, you get to choose what you want to listen to. And State Farm believes insurance should work the same way. That's why the State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you get the coverage you want at an affordable price and a policy that helps cover what you value most. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com today to create your State Farm Personal Price Plan. Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
A Royal Caribbean vacation is all the vacations in one vacation. It's a hike that volcano, zip that zipline, surf that flow rider, cabana chilling, island hopping, sushi for lunch, lobster for dinner, ice cream all day vacation. A perfect day at Coco Cay Private Island in the Bahamas with a waterslide skyscraper and hot air balloon vacation, and it's all on one Royal Caribbean vacation. Visit RoyalCaribbean.com and come see the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
Purple Mafia with your host, Paladino Joey.
Well, we'll see. The doctors would disagree, but what do they know?
So let's just say that you'll pay me because it's in your interest to pay me.
Is it worth it? I mean, you've won. You want to wipe everybody out?
I don't feel I have to wipe everybody out, Tom. Just my enemies. That's all. My father taught me many things. He taught me, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
These are wonderful things that we've achieved, and there's no limit to where we can go from
here. Welcome to the family here on Purple Mafia. It is Tuesday, September the 17th, 2013. This is episode number 146 of Purple Mafia, which is on thesportstuff.com and on iTunes. I thank each and every one of you always for downloading and listening to this show. I am your host, Joey Awaijane, or Paladino Joey, and with me is the man, Dylan Richardson.
The man. Oh, I'm so gracious and and the love that you're sharing with me right now.
Oh yeah. Especially after that game, right?
Oh geez, that game. Well, that was interesting, and we're gonna talk a little bit about that game.
A little bit, only a little though. We're gonna try to focus more on. Okay, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Try to focus more on Cleveland. You know, that's gonna be the highlight of the season. Yes.
Ooh, that's gonna be tough. that might be tough. I mean, there's like two players to focus on the entire team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think both of them are on offense. So.
Yeah. One of them's a backup quarterback, and the other is a running back that isn't really that good yet. Yeah. So that's the Cleveland preview, just about. No.
Well, now the Cleveland preview is finished.
Yeah. At least until the second segment, but that's about what it's going to sound. Okay, I shouldn't say that.
No.
That's mean. That's bad radio.
You know, Joey. Joey will, hammer it out of the park. You know it.
Mm-hmm. Got to do our best here. Oh boy.
All right, so the Bears game. I mean, final score 31-30.
Oof. Oh.
And that's a tough loss for the Vikings. But here's the thing that you have to look forward to is that generally a home team is given 3 points, so to speak. So they have somewhat of a 3-point advantage, saying, in the odds makers' eyes. So if you kind of follow that line, this could be a W at home.
It could be, and I think it probably would have been, but, I hope the Vikings do win at home later in the season, but, yeah, it's kind of one of those home-away type of situations, yet in a lot of ways. Talk about a game that was basically won that ended up not being won, just because of breakdowns defensively, and obviously plays that were not made just a few minutes before that, we'll call it the final drive. Jay Cutler has 2 of them already this year, 2 for 2.
Yeah, the heart attack kid. Mr. Fourth Quarter, as ESPN likes to refer to him.
Can you believe it? Yeah, Mr. Fourth Quarter. And it's funny, too, for back-to-back weeks for the Minnesota Vikings. Well, you know the song The Heat Is On? The
Heat is on.
Yep, guess what? For the Vikings, the tease is on. The tease is on. Yeah, last week it was a 78-yard carry to pay dirt on the opening carry of the game for Adrian Peterson and for the Vikings. And the opening kickoff for the Minnesota Vikings. The tease is on. We were talking about a Cordero Patterson. Could this be a breakout week for him? And if it is, oh boy, Minnesota is going to pull off one of those spectacular road victories that they hardly get, but they get them once in a while. Okay, that was bad, but well, this was it was a good indication. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, playing on the road is hard to do in the NFL. It's hard to win games. Even the great teams, are not gonna win away games.
Mm-hmm. And I'll just say this super brief, not to digress, but yeah, look at Seattle, San Francisco. Oh,
yes.
Talk about losing on the road.
Yes, they were pretty much embarrassed, and
Yikes.
a lot of people laughed at me when I said, "Hey, it's going to be rough for San Francisco to go up there and win a game." Mm-hmm. Not many have, and in Russell Wilson's career, no one has.
No one. It's San Francisco. If they're going to live up to my prediction, they cannot lose home field to Seattle when it comes to playoff time.
That's the thing. They're going to have to split that game, but
they have to.
Here we go, getting sidetracked again, huh, Joey?
Yep. Good thing it's like semi-related, but yeah.
What's NFC talk?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hey, NFC Mafia. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, sorry, but yeah, that's definitely the case with San Francisco. But yeah, the tease is on. Cordero Patterson, 105-yard kick return, and it's like, wow, here we go.
What a way to start the game, too, and watching it, I'm like, oh, great, down 7 points from the opening kickoff. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a monumental, thing to try to overcome right from the get-go. You're down 7 points.
Mm-hmm. And last week, the Detroit kicker, I was getting so pissed off, the whole game was just touchbacks, so Cordero Patterson never could return anything. So, okay, now he returns one, and there it is. Percy Harvin's back, I guess.
Yeah, minus the headaches and the hip problems and the pissing and moaning and the constant distraction and
the attitude. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the attitude and the this and the that, the never-ending laundry list of baggage that comes with that guy. So, and then the reciprocation there, Devin Hester almost to the house. And you almost could feel like something was going to happen when he came back out. When he came out on the field, he was like gesturing to the crowd like, now it's my turn. Yeah, and he's like trying to do, get loud, crowd, get loud, crowd. And in that moment, you can feel like, man, this could be like back-to-backs because he's pumped right now. And it almost was.
It almost was. It was that 80-yard return, and it's like, oh, great. Well, that nice touchdown, but the Bears are going to tie it up, aren't they?
They'll tie it up or at least get a score.
At least get something, yep. And they tied it up.
Yes, they did.
Devin Hester is a Viking killer. And,
so this is definitely an interesting game because both teams scored on defense.
Yes.
But my question to you, Joey, is who's to blame? Who do you blame on the Viking side of the football for this loss?
And that's going to be the name of this episode, the blame game. Boy, yeah, that's the $1 million question here because there's a lot of finger pointing from fans and obviously players and coaches. Leslie Frazier blames himself. I can't blame Christian Ponder for really anything, believe it or not. Last week you could blame him for a lot of stuff. Right now, if I were, the linebackers I think were lousy just the whole game, last week too. Right now, if I were to pick the GOAT of the whole thing, and this is obviously a hint of where we're headed later on when we, get to near the end of the review, like the GOAT of the week, whatever, I think it's Chris Cook. The guy's never done anything in this league other than have a domestic dispute. That's the highlight of his career. And he got highlighted quite a bit in this game, including a couple of touchdowns.
Looking at statistic-wise and watching the game, it looked almost like the Bears had a slightly better quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of like the advantage right there. I mean, both teams scored on defense. Played fairly well on defense, both teams, except for, that last big play with Bennett, the one leading up to the touchdown. That was the big play where they got that first down and goal right there.
Mm-hmm.
But
we were going to lose at that point.
and the Adrian Peterson fumble, I'm not so sure if that's 100% on Adrian, because if you watch the play, it's kind of stumbling, bumbling, kind of like a muffed handoff. If you watch it, Ponder actually gets caught up into Adrian's feet and actually winds up falling down. So I don't think that exchange ever really happened all that good. So, I mean, that's on both of them. I can't really pin it square on Ponder, but
it's funny how in both games, in Detroit, the same thing happened. Where it was kind of like a team fumble between Ponder and Adrian. Ponder bumped into Sullivan. That's who it was. Kind of got stepped on or something like that. Kind of just clumsy, and led to an Adrian fumble. Adrian, of course, Christian Ponder, and then it happens again this week. So it's like that figures. Back-to-back weeks that actually would happen. So, and they're crucial turnovers, without a doubt. Also, again on that final play too, I might as well say it now just in case I forget later, because that's the way it goes sometimes when we get into the game reviews, because there's just a billion variables to every win and loss. But yeah, the Vikings didn't have the correct set out there, and they knew they didn't, and no one called a timeout. So basically, you had people put in the wrong place, but still, even at times when the wrong defense is in place, good players make plays, and that's where I still have blame on Chris Cook. Ultimately, the coaching was terrible, though. Terrible this game for the Vikings. Bears made a few questionable decisions here and there, that being Tressman. The challenge late in the game on the Christian Ponder, you probably know what I mean. The Christian Ponder's first down. Some people may think that was a smart challenge. Some people don't. I'm kind of, this is very unradio-like, but I'm kind of neutral on it, I guess.
At first glance, I was like, why are they challenging it? And then they showed the replay. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's what made me wonder, because it's like the marker, it looked like he was behind that, the little marker on the ground, the little arrow, whatever. But, oh, man. That certainly didn't help the Vikings. Luckily, Adrian just stepped forward. That was it, basically. But it was the next series that...
And I like that for Moxie. They were like, okay, well, screw your challenge. We're coming out here on fourth down. We're going to run it down your throat.
Mm-hmm. And they got it. It was just bing, like that. But unfortunately, that next play, this is obviously more coaching is what drove me nuts. It's just such a vanilla approach. I mean, Bill Musgrave is the worst offensive coordinator in football. And I know that's classic, getting pissed off at your team, and, your offensive coordinator is the most hated man in town, along with the starting quarterback in most towns, unless it's Aaron Rodgers. But
yeah,
A-Rod or Drew Brees or whatever. But unless your quarterback's one of those quote-unquote heroes, yeah. Bill Musgrave, though, is the worst coordinator in football. Darrell Bevel was better than this guy. At least you knew what the offense was. I mean, I don't even know what this offense is. It's make short dump passes and run here and there, and that's it.
It's called we're going to try to ride Adrian Peterson's back into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. And it works sometimes, but not always. A la Miami Dolphins in the Ricky Williams era.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, man.
And then they even tried that with Ronnie Brown later.
Yeah, they did. And that got them... Well, it got them basically where I hope the Vikings aren't headed, but I don't know. Lots of 7 and 9s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what were you going to say? Sounded like you...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sounded like you were about to jump in there. I'm sorry. But, yeah, I mean, Bill Musgrave's the worst coordinator in football there. I said that 6 times. Sorry, but I'm sure the listeners appreciate that.
But on a positive note, Joey, is that
you got fired?
Oh,
okay.
I've got positive for you.
Yeah.
O-line didn't do too bad. They only gave up 1 sack.
Yes.
And, for the most part, they looked fairly decent.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side of the ball, the Bears did. Looks like those 2 rookies are actually working out for them as well.
Mm-hmm. It's like props to 2 O-lines. Like last year, the Bears O-line struggled pretty much the whole year. Jamarcus Webb got a tongue lashing from Christian Potter, from Jay Cutler, and eventually wound up here, believe it or not. We haven't really seen him in purple yet. And the Vikings O-line was horrendous all preseason, just got destroyed in Detroit, as I like to call them, and looked very good against Chicago. I was very happy, and I do think that obviously that helped Christian Ponder in his significantly better performance in Chicago. I mean, when O-lines play well, the quarterback obviously has a lot more time to throw the ball, make a play, do whatever. Maybe run for a first down, whatever it is. It's just plain and simple. The old-fashioned coaches will tell you the game's won in the trenches.
That it is. And you know what? Both these teams are looking up in that department. And really the Bears are, because that was just like the main problem with last season's whole departing with, actually doing very well in the first half of the season to tanking.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't believe it. Yeah, I still can't believe the Bears didn't make the playoffs last year, actually. As weird as that sounds. I'm still
They were robbed. They were robbed by the Vikings. Hey, but you know what? You got to win games to get in. Vikings did it.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows what's going to happen again. This is actually, I'm really liking this, because this means that there's definitely, despite the 0-2 record by the Vikings, this means to me that there is actual fight in this team.
Yeah.
And we already know what the other teams are going to be like. And this is going to be a really tough division. And I think that the Vikings, if this game is at home, they win. I think that they will win this the next time they play at home. And then another thing, not really trying to get too sidetracked, but we'll get a really good indicator of how. So let's just say Bears and Vikings are even, right?
Mm-hmm,
we know that the Bears are better than the Bengals. They beat them. And Green Bay plays the Bengals this week.
Yes.
In fact, on Thursday night, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. No, it's not Thursday night. So that'll be a good indicator of where everyone sits in the division, kind of at least on paper type. So, yeah, that'll be a good indicator there. See what Green Bay does against Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's the old thing where, all the division plays this other division, in the AFC. Yep, and then obviously you play your own division forever. Like, that's always how it goes. So, yeah, it's a good indicator. Chicago did beat a good Cincinnati team. Will Green Bay do it? Well, probably, but you never know.
Yeah, they're on the road since he's playing at home.
Go get them, Bengals. Go get them. Come on. Roar, Tigers, roar.
Please?
Please beat them. We need it. Yes. Thank God San Francisco beat them. Yeah, they saved that bad game for Seattle. But yeah, what a crazy game though. Obviously, the whole game was nuts. Black and blue division, and it was black and blue offense too, I guess you could call it. And it made fans black and blue, just punching ourselves and 16 times and breaking TVs and all that. I've got about 8 TVs broken in the garbage over there. Okay, I'm just kidding. Just about. But yeah, Ponder did look better. One theory I have, and obviously this leads to a Jay Glazer report that Ponder was actually on a short leash going into this game, potentially. Potentially, it's all, Obviously, Leslie Frazier denied it. Ponder was never on a short leash. He's the man. He's our quarterback, blah, blah, blah. That was after this Viking, after the Bears game, excuse me. But to me, there was something different about Christian Ponder in this game. He looked more urgent, plain and simple. He actually looked urgent Other than that horrible pick six he threw, he looked like a different player in this game. He looked like a legit competitor, which you couldn't really say that at all pretty much most of his career thus far.
And that long play that he threw to Greg Jennings.
Yeah.
Man, actually, I was pretty impressed that he held on to that ball. And I wouldn't be too surprised to see if there's maybe a fine put out for that. I'm against all that stuff, but, I mean, that was a pretty wicked hit. And Ponder pretty much thread the needle on that play and zipped it in there, and that was a sweet play.
Was that the horse collar one? Now I'm trying to think of. No, not the horse collar.
No, it was later in the game. It was later in the game.
Got nailed. Yep. The 22-yarder got nailed. Yep. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know which one you mean now. One other thing I find funny too about the whole Ponder and receivers and all that good stuff, of course. Every single interception, here's something I got to say. I'm going to bash Jerome Simpson again. Yep, I'm going to do it. Yes, imagine that. You can tell I'm a huge fan. Every single interception Christian Ponder throws, have you ever noticed that Jerome Simpson is the guy that the ball is being targeted to? It's every single time. And it's like, well, it was a route, or he tipped it up in the air, a la Kadri Ishmael used to do to Warren Moon back in the day. He was the interception king of... he was the assistant interception guy.
He's not fighting for the ball, yeah.
Yeah, yep. And he just knocked the ball in there, and it would be picked off. Jerome Simpson didn't come back for the ball to try to knock it down or whatever. He kind of Randy Mossed it, like, whatever, taking the play off at that point. 'Cause I remember there a lot of times Randy Moss would have an interception thrown, and he'd just stand there and watch the guy run.
I'm not going to get hurt trying to tackle. I don't get paid to tackle.
Yeah, that's basically what the attitude was of Moss, and I saw the same thing out of Simpson. I'm not a fan. Please promote Cordell Patterson and demote Jerome Simpson to the third receiver, because if this is the reason why Cordell Patterson was targeted, was it once last week and twice this week, and he caught the ball all 3 times he's been targeted so far this year. Yeah, 3 targets, 3 catches.
Maybe he's hoping that his tape gets out to some volleyball scouts out there. Who knows?
Oh, Jerome?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to set it up. Yep, he's trying to do the set for the
setter.
Spike.
Setting for the spike.
He is a
what
great
he's
setter.
doing, he's spiking his own damn team into the loss column.
He is, and he did it last year too, a lot. His numbers are up, and he's making deep catches and everything. But I remember last week, the one time he didn't catch, because he was targeted 8 times and made 7 catches. Of course, what do you think that 8th one was? It was an interception. Yep. It's just I can't get over it. How many times when there's some kind of horrible interception, you just see Jerome Simpson there? It's always something like a bad route or blah blah blah. Like in the preseason, there was a Jerome Simpson deal where he ran wrong. It made me sick. It makes me sick. So let's promote Cordell Patterson to number 2 receiver, please, coaches. These coaches are killing me.
Yeah, just like when we did the breakdown, we're talking about Webb, being an athlete that needs to be out on the field. The same thing with this Patterson. I mean, holy cow, the guy, it can be, a household name in the NFL.
And I love Wright too. I love Wright. I hated the drop he had, but yeah, Cordell could absolutely be a whole household name without a doubt. A lot like your receiver over there. Yes, that guy who catches 9,000 who makes 9,000 catches every week.
Is that the Brandon guy?
Yes.
That guy.
He is a son of a gun, isn't he?
It's funny that the Bears finally went out on the line and got a quarterback and a number 1 receiver.
Uh-huh.
Finally. I mean,
yeah,
how long has it been for Chicago? Like, I guess you could call McMahon and Willie Gall, I guess. I mean, but statistic-wise, doesn't even come close to Cutler and Marshall.
Yeah, it's like de facto kind of number 1 guys for pretty much forever. I was saying that on shows in the past too. Yeah, it's just, Chicago finally got the big name quarterback receiver combination. Finally.
I mean, look at the fine wide receiver history in the Chicago Bears history. I mean, Wendell Davis. I mean, oh yeah.
Oh,
Tom Waddle. Yes. Actually, he was probably more of a slot. Let's
Bobby
see.
Ingram.
recent, Hamne guy. Whatever
Devin
that
Aroma
guy's
should
name.
do.
Yeah, that's that's what I was saying. Remember, if you say it fast enough, it doesn't matter if you mispronounce it. Hamne do.
Dasimwa. Fatu
yeah.
Malafala. There we go.
Yeah, Malav. What are you cussing? We better bleep that out.
That what sounds like it.
Hasafasama. So it's kind of nice to sit back and watch this team. Have an actual passing game.
Mm-hmm.
And Forte, there was that play where Forte fumbled. That wasn't a fumble, man. He was straight stripped. He was mugged and robbed.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, that was a fantastic play for the Vikings, man. That was just sheer brute force and weight. He just clamped on the ball, fell down, and pulled.
Are you talking about my guy, LaTroy Guyan?
Your guy, yes.
My guy, yep. You probably heard me talk about him like that. Yep. He's like my he's like that little diamond in the rough. I followed him. I mean, he literally came to the Vikings the same time I started recording this show. Was a 4th round pick, 5th round. Okay, I should know that, but yeah, the way he kind of came in as an underdog, a backup in college. He was a backup defensive lineman in college defensive tackle actually, but who was that little engine that could. Like when he did play in his limited role, he always would get sacks and stuff and forced turnovers, stuff like that. And I just loved him. And I remember him saying in the little article when he was drafted, he said he was shaking. He was so shocked he got drafted, even though he was just a backup. And then he came here as a backup and was similar that way. And now he's a starter. Yet it seemed like his production kind of was much more sporadic as a starter. But then to see that, I felt so good. Oh, felt so good for the guy.
That was a good play. And you know what? I like rooting for guys like that too.
Yeah, I love him. He's finally a starter, because of Big Fat Pat Williams retired. So Big Patrick. You like that?
I like the Fat Pat reference.
Yeah, that's what they call him here, Fat Pat. Yep.
Oh, geez.
LaTroy. I love LaTroy. 5th round pick. Yeah, but it's like I should know that. I did know that, but it's just the heat of the moment here just kind of slipped that one up.
Let's be fair. It was a few years ago.
Yeah, 2008, April 2008, which is when Purple Mafia started. Hey, no.
Hey.
So he's kind of my little twin, He's my young twin. Yes. So
Minus
yeah,
a couple hundred.
Huh?
Minus a couple hundred.
Yeah, really, pretty much a couple 100 pounds. Yeah, no kidding, right? Yeah, I love the guy. So that was it. That was such a big play, and it was one of those moments too where that's a potential dagger right there. That's going to suck the life out of the Chicago Bears. The Vikings got this thing. They're going to score a touchdown, and we are going to actually win a game in Chicago for the first time since 2007, when Adrian had his great breakout game, literally, in Chicago that day. And no. we got a field goal out of it, woohoo, because we didn't go for it on 4th down, which I think personally it's risky, but what's the point of going up by 6 versus going up by possibility of going up by 10? I mean, the offense was moving.
Well, Joey, too, hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah.
And you know that you got to get your points because if you just have the 3 on the board, you can get beat by a touchdown, yes, but you can also get tied by a field goal, and
it would be easier, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 50 yards, you only got to get to like the 35-yard line-ish, around there, so it cuts the field by 30 to 40 yards of where they would actually have to go to have a chance to tie the thing. So I could kind of see the points, taking your points when you can get them. But, you always think of the ifs,
Yeah.
In hindsight, going for it, but at that point in time, I think going for the points was the right decision.
I was thinking about it at the time too, and then I kept going back and forth on it. And I heard from a local radio host, might as well just say his name, Jeff Dubé, was saying anytime you just take a 6-point lead with 3 minutes left, you're basically you basically just lost the game because you just know the other team's going to come back and score because they're going to have 4 downs every single series. They're not going to punt or anything. But
I think what Leslie Frazier was doing was basically betting against Jay Cutler, and for a few years, he could have been the winner of that because Jay will get frustrated and try to force things, and maybe we're seeing a different Jay Cutler this season, but he was prone for turnovers in those comeback situations.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I was sitting there praying to God, like, where's going to be that interception and, the dagger, the official dagger. Here's the interception by, maybe Chris Cook will get his first turnover in his career. It's like, no, none of it. Maybe somebody will fumble, but no. I mean, it was really, if the Vikings were going to win this game, in my opinion, it was going to be an interception. It wasn't going to be a turnover on downs type of thing. It was going to be an interception where he'll force a play in the, in between defenders that just will be a no-no type of deal, and the Vikings win. And, that's going to happen usually in that type of situation when you have to score a touchdown. You're going to force something at some point, but the Vikings played the most prevent offense I've ever seen, or prevent defense. We played prevent offense too, yes, very much so. The Bill Musgrave offense is not a West Coast offense. You know how in the past they would debate, is it West Coast, is it this and that, because it doesn't really have an identity. No, it doesn't, and that means it's a horrible offense. It's prevent offense. But the prevent defense the Vikings played was basically 20 yards are all yours, just don't go deep. Please don't go deep on us.
Yeah, and the play leading up to Bennett's touchdown, it was a prevent covering Bennett because he was wide open. No one was even near him.
And that's the thing. That's where the coaches are absolutely to blame because the bad. Well, I mean, everybody's to blame ultimately, but, and Aaron Henderson, the linebacker who's been playing terribly so far because he's out of position. We'll get to that in a second. But, yeah, he was saying they weren't properly prepared for that play. And the Bears had used that play earlier in the game, which is funny. And the Vikings didn't adjust to it properly. The coaches didn't have the right set. And what's really bad here, obviously the coaches made the mistake having the wrong set out, but here's 2 things that come on the players. If it's the wrong set, you have to call timeout and fix it. You don't just stand out there and hope for the best. You can't do that. But at the same time, if the play does happen, great players somehow find a way to make a play, unless it's absolutely hopeless. And Chris Cook was potentially close enough to make a play, and he didn't. He's just not good enough. Plain and simple. He's not good enough. He's not a good cornerback. I would cut him tomorrow, but if we could, I would. He's done nothing in this league. I wish, really pray to God, I wish we could get Antoine Winfield back, but he's not going to come out of retirement. You can tell.
Yeah.
I'm going to cry.
It's too bad when you lose, kind of, you're locked down guy for the most part.
Oh, he's so good.
Yeah. It just makes everything that the other guy does, like, magnified. But really, it was like the perfect play called against the uncalled defense, I guess you could say, because there was no way anyone could have made a play on Bennett unless they split themselves in 2.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the way it turned out, isn't it?
Yeah, because
just beat us, didn't
the wides, split out the coverage, and he was just out there in the flat, just hanging out, chilling by himself. Hey, Jay, I'm wide open over here. You want to give me the ball?
Come on, overthrow him. Oh,
hey, you know what? That's happened.
Yeah, really,
a lot.
It does. We've seen
you get so amped
times,
up, like, oh, that guy is totally wide open, no one around him. Like you see 6, like dollar signs in a cartoon.
Yeah.
I just imagine Jay Cutler's eyes just instead of dollar signs, they're like 6 symbols.
Yeah.
Bing, and then wow, I'm gonna Hercules this ball to you, and it winds up going,
literally gets too
5
excited.
yards over his head.
Yeah, literally gets too excited, and it's like, oh, great. Well. Okay, well, we'll see you next week. And we'll see you tomorrow night. No, sorry. That's a totally different sport there. I had to say that, though.
Picked off by the Vikings.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's a dream, right? If it was Christian Ponder, it probably would have been underthrown. But did I say that out loud? Did I? Yeah.
What are you trying to say about arm strength and Christian Ponder?
It is lacking. Oh my God, I said it again.
And we won't see him in one of those quarterback challenge things?
Probably not. Well, maybe. Maybe if just to see probably the running part, right? They run around. That's about it. I would love to see him in there for that, but I guess that's about it. That's about it, isn't it? So are we ready for our urban legend?
Urban legend it.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember this bit. I kind of used it last week kind of randomly, but I'm going to try to turn it into a weekly bit. I should get a soundbite for it of some kind.
We should make something for that, huh?
So here's the urban. Yeah, I mean, last year it was Jarius Wright for like almost weekly for the first half of the year, and then the rest of the year was John Carlson. Because, yeah. No one... He was a very good tight end for Seattle. He's worthless as you-know-what here, but... To the point, the real, true urban legend is Desmond Bishop. Does he exist, or is he a myth? Why won't the coaches? Why is he not playing? Desmond Bishop, remember him, the guy that played with Green Bay, that was really good. Had a massive hamstring issue that got fixed, and he's healthy and looked good at the end of the preseason. Believe it or not, preseason or not, he looked healthy. The linebackers are playing pathetic. Utterly pathetic. They can't tackle anybody right now. All kinds of talk about Chad Greenway, who has been straight up awful. People wondering, is it because he's trying to make up for Aaron Henderson, and when you do that, you look really bad, and so does the other guy, or is it just Chad Greenway is not good? And I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle on that one. I don't like Chad Greenway that much for what he's being paid. But, yeah, Aaron Henderson's playing out of position. Desmond Bishop is a middle linebacker. They need to put Desmond Bishop in there because if the Vikings have any hopes of any type of competence at the linebacker in the linebacker core right now, Desmond Bishop needs to be playing. So that's the urban legend of the week. Who is Desmond Bishop?
What do you think is keeping him out of the lineup? Could it be Greenway's big contract?
I don't know. It's really... I don't understand if they're punishing him because he was missing time in the preseason and wasn't coming back from the little minor injuries, or if they're afraid that he's still hurt or what, because he's not like on the injury report or anything. He needs to be playing. This is really weird.
Maybe they're gonna work him in.
Unless he's secretly been banned for substance abuse. I don't know what else it could be.
Yeah, and that's a weird thing too, just like with baseball where there's like stuff that's been appealed that we don't even know about.
You don't? Yeah, sometimes you never know. I remember one year the Timberwolves weren't playing Fred Hoiberg, who was a great three-point shooter, and people were wondering, what's the deal? Why is he suddenly not playing? And it turned out he had some type of really strange issue where his, I don't know, was it like some massive artery by his heart was like this close to popping.
Oh, wow.
It's like, oh, that's why. Okay, but they never said anything. It's like, well, that isn't that weird?
I remember that like there was some guys in the NBA that have sickle cell anemia, which makes the blood cells kind of look like they're concave, so it can do a lot of really weird things for you, and it's mostly found in African Americans, and so there would be a few people that would skip the Denver games because of the altitude.
Oh,
and
weird.
Sickle cell would really affect their health.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's not a mile high in Chicago though.
No, it's not. It's by the lake, so it's a little bit lower there, just a little bit. Usually, lake area is the lowest.
You know, me being a California guy, when I did go to Chicago, it was amazing to see pretty much snow at sea level.
Yeah, that must have been something, huh?
Because in a California kid, you go see the snow when you're in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see the ocean. You might see a...
How dare you? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, we're used to that around here, but yeah, it's funny how different things are. It is, yeah. In some places, all it is in mountains. In other places, you get it in sea level, and it's a whole different world.
I got to have more views of that in Seattle area.
Mm-hmm. Got to come to Minnesota. No. Yeah, you're always welcome, but... Yep.
I would love to come and see Minnesota, for real.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I would really love it.
Mm-hmm. That would be cool. With that said, Jeff Locke is playing better now. Yay! No, the rookie punter, he's playing better. That's a small little thing, but actually it is important because field position is extremely important, obviously, in football. So the rookie punter's kicking better. That's good news because he was terrible in Detroit in his first game. Blair Walsh, I'm telling you, that guy is insanely good because, I mean, it just seems like, those road games, right? When it's a close game and you just blew it, you thought you were on a great scoring drive. Now you're going to have to settle for a field goal and watch. He's going to miss now. Just watch. Nope. This guy is he's just the coolest customer I've seen as a kicker. And the Vikings have had some good kickers over the years, quite a few. But this guy is about as good as I've seen. It's just, boom, nope, it's perfect. Boom. It's just so calming to watch. There's so many times you're shaking, you're nervous, like, oh, wow, watch him miss. Now, that's just going to really stress us out now, and we're going to really be screwed. He made it again.
Don't kerplunk it.
Yeah.
And, on the whole special teams thing and with Devin Hester.
Yep.
So this year, Devin Hester is only returning kicks, so that's going to be his main focal point. So he's going to get some of these returns. So I wouldn't look too badly upon the special teams as you would against, say, if the Browns return one on you, you might have a little bit of a problem. But
yeah, I got to start firing people, right? No, yeah, the Browns.
Yeah.
Who's on the Browns again? That's the urban legend of all time, right there. Who are the Cleveland Browns? Who's on the Browns?
Who?
Who's Miami's running back? Oh, yep. That's the other thing I was getting to. Yep. Off the mic, it was like Miami has no running game, so Cleveland's run defense is not nearly as good as it looked. But yeah, Devin Hester's. Yeah, just a little more exciting than the Cleveland Browns. My goodness. He's about as good of a kick returner that's ever lived. And there have been some good ones. Detroit had a great one forever, This guy's a beast, though, man. Devin Hester is awesome. Oh, you were just in awe of Devin Hester's awesomeness, wasn't he? Or weren't you?
Definitely.
So with that, man, it's all about the Vikings coaches need to. Yeah, I don't even know what to think about them at this point. They lose to Cleveland. I think nobody's job is safe.
I don't see that happening, though. I mean, there's just no way. I mean, Cleveland is pretty much the worst team in the NFL right now, and there's no real looking up.
No, Cleveland is pathetic, absolutely pathetic, and boy, shame on Baltimore for only scoring 14 points on them at home in the Brown Bowl. That's the Brown Bowl. Who do you think is the better team, though, between those two since the original Browns left? You think, right? Yeah.
It's funny too. Like Cleveland was on track to becoming one of those really great teams. I mean, you look back at it now, all those coaches that become head coaches and all successful, and
Belichick.
A lot of the players, Belichick. It just was like it was going to happen. It was going to happen big for this franchise, and then they just, the city took a dump on them, and they said, "The hell with it."
That was a shame, huge shame. Yeah, the dog pound. So much for the dog pound now. They're just a bunch of sled dogs, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what they should call them, Cleveland Sled Dogs. That is a terrible expansion team. They're still an expansion team, literally. They never came out of it.
Yeah, they need more draft picks or something. I don't know.
I don't understand it. There's just nothing going on, man. Yeah, Baltimore, 2 Super Bowls. What a man! Remember how good they were? Yeah, they had that receiver named Michael Jackson. I always got a kick out of that.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson. Okay, sorry. Vinny Testaverde, all those nice players. I mean, yeah, that was I really enjoyed that team. They had a couple of years.
Didn't they have Webster Slaughter? Wasn't that another guy?
Yeah, I think so.
Something Slaughter, I think. I think I remember that.
It's like slightly ringing a bell, and I'm not sure.
And of course, Ernest Biner fumbling.
Mm-hmm.
That's bad. That's bad of me to say that. Ernest Biner fumbling, because he was a really good running back. Mm-hmm. It's not really fair for me to focus on his one downfall. Really, they would have never even been there if Ernest Biner wasn't on that squad. So I take that back.
Sounds like you're talking about Adrian a little bit there, doesn't it? No.
Oh, no way. No way.
Yeah, Mr. Fumbler. No,
not even in the same league as Adrian Peterson, not even.
No, that was bad.
Adrian's one of the top-notch backs, and if for some reason he's not, on top of the rushing, yardage for lifetime as he retires, I think that he could definitely be, one of those guys that are held in highest regard, say like a Gale Sayers type.
Ooh, yes. And yep, the guy who could split in two.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
It's for Adrian can do both. He can not only split in two, he can split you in two.
Mm-hmm. He is a absolute beast.
Power and speed.
Mm-hmm. And I do like your running back a lot, because he can actually catch the ball and be a huge factor.
For a little guy, I was so impressed.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they first got Forte, I was like, "It's a little guy. What's he gonna do? Let's be a little skitty, scat, 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 scat. I'm gonna try to Reggie Bush all in the backfield."
Mm-hmm.
And the Bears don't play that.
Mm-hmm.
Bears don't play that.
Mm-hmm.
It's here's the ball. It's almost like the Denver offense. Here's the old Denver offense.
Yeah.
Here's the ball. Make one cut. You're done.
Mm-hmm.
Run downhill.
That's pretty much what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Straight.
That's what he's done.
Straight line.
I'm impressed that he's been so successful for a smaller guy.
Yeah, you need the big beast like an Adrian type for that. Yeah, generally.
Yeah, no kidding. He would be the prototype back for that offense there. But well, the Bears weren't willing to move up or take a chance in the draft, and that's what happens.
No.
But I think that year. We got what was his name? Dang it! He doesn't play for the team anymore. I remember that. From Mr. Abilene Christian. I think they traded out of the first round.
Wow.
For what the heck's his name? Dang it! I think he plays for the Texans.
For Adrian Peterson. No, I'm kidding. The other Adrian Peterson, right?
Yeah.
Do some digging. Greg Olson was a tight end drafted in 2007 by the Bears.
Oh, okay.
31st overall.
I was thinking of 06 then, I bet. You know what? That was actually a good pick there for a little while. I don't know what old boy's doing now, but...
Yeah, he was good. Yep. I know the name. I know the name fairly well. Yes, Greg Olson. I saw him just recently. I saw his name. I saw his name come up just recently. Look at us. Look at us getting random here, but that's how
we're getting all sidetracked on stuff that doesn't matter. That's what we do. That's what Joey does. I bring that out of Joey whenever
I'm a superstar. Carolina, yeah, I was looking at Carolina recently.
That's right.
Greg, number 88. Yeah, I remember him being decent with the Bears. Like not superstar, but good. Something I wish John Carlson could be.
Now that I remember, didn't Carolina get Olsen and Shockey at one point? I know, stretching the limits. For some reason, I think I remember that.
Jeremy Shockey? Yeah, I think so. That sounds familiar. Jeremy Shockey, how dare you bring that name up, Mister? I refuse to catch a touchdown because I just don't want you to. I want you to draft me.
My team out.
Mm-hmm. That guy was a bastard. Look at me. Yep, he is an unsigned free agent. Yeah, go Jeremy. Yeah, he did play with Carolina for a short time, if I do remember. Yes, he did in 2011, and he has been unemployed since. Congratulations, Jeremy Shockey.
You pissed everyone off.
Mm-hmm.
Way to go, Jose. Jeremy Shockey.
The juice ball. Yep. Oh man. So, man, Any final thoughts on the Bears and Vikings?
It was a good win for the Bears, obviously, and a tough loss for the Vikings.
Yeah.
But really, it shows that these two teams are a lot closer than I thought, and maybe even a lot of people have thought.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's on the up and up for Minnesota here. I mean, losing a road game by 1 point is nothing to be ashamed about, especially against a fairly decent team, a team that you battled with last season to eventually beat out of a playoff spot after you're so far behind. Now, it's a different story when you go into Cleveland, because Cleveland's got nothing really going, and I can hear people saying, oh, well, they almost beat Baltimore. Well, let's be honest, Baltimore ain't the same team this year. They're not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really.
They're not even close to the same team.
And Ray Rice got hurt. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's a huge hit, and they did lose by more than a touchdown. So,
yeah, it's not good, and that's even 8 points. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's losing by 8 is not good. You don't want the line to be 8 points at the betting table per se. Not that I've ever bet anything, but
yeah. So, I mean, Minnesota's going to march into Cleveland, and they're going to stomp that ass. That's all I have to say.
It's a home game, so it'll be even easier. So yeah, I mean, if we can't beat Cleveland at home, fire the whole staff.
Why was I thinking that it was a road game?
Oh no, it's okay. Yeah, it's just because basically that's all the Vikings do is play on the road this year. It's almost like they're like petitioning against the Mall of America field because it's the last year.
Mistake. Sorry about that. Wow, that's gonna be a murdering then.
Yeah, it has to be. That's what I'm saying. It's like Vikings lose this game, just go away, guys.
I'm going to say it's easy, retire. 3-score game minimum, 17-point minimum. They're going to destroy them.
They should. I'm so worried. I had it at like 24-14. I'm crazy.
No.
Yep. That's what you'll be
man. If they can here's the deal: if the Vikings can put a 30 spot on the Bears in Chicago, they sure as hell can put a 30 spot on Cleveland at home.
You would think, but maybe they'll just get lazy, though. You know how teams do that? Where Chicago is more of a dogfight.
Look for Adrian to have a monster game, Ponder with a couple touchdowns, maybe one pick. Let's say one pick.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Yep, you'll be hearing that when I get to the preview and the mailbag segment in the next 2 segments, we'll call them. Yep, this is going to be a big show, but it's the way it goes. It's fun because it's Viking Bears. It's my favorite matchup, basically. Oh, I love this.
And we'll especially have to do it again.
Yeah, and we will do it again. If you're okay with that. If you're okay with it. Oh, yeah. We will definitely do it again. Vikings Bears is Joey and Dylan. Yes, sir. That is stamped right here. If you heard that noise. There we go. Big stamp. Joey and Dylan on Purple Mafia, and playoff football is the same thing. Yes, sir. Always, the door is always open. The Purple Mafia door. Okay, I'll leave that alone. But no, thanks again. Definitely. Definitely, obviously a tough loss. Going 0-2 is not what we wanted, but you're going to lose division games on the road. That's just going to happen. Hopefully we can overcome it with a win in Green Bay. Something crazy like that. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. Chicago, great start for Trestman, no doubt about it. So basically, and of course Jay Cutler, a great start for him too. Suddenly he's clutch. That's a good sign for the Bears. We shall see. Are they a playoff team or are they not? But if they do get to the playoffs, I think Chicago will be advancing past the first round. Wink, wink. Ooh. Yes, sir. I do think they will advance unless they run into San Francisco or something. Then probably not. But who knows? Hopefully, for San Francisco's sake, they are not in the wild card round because they will lose to Seattle at some point if that's the case. So with that said, I'm not running on too much longer, I hope. Thanks again so much for joining, Dylan. Always love it. And
well, thanks for having me, Joey. I enjoy talking sports with you.
No doubt.
I enjoy talking about the Vikings in our black and blue division. It's always fun.
And you'll always be on, too. Yep, on at minimum against Chicago in the playoff games, but, yeah, maybe even more, too.
Heck yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about the Packers, yes. We all know what you like to call them.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Peckers. Hashtag Peckers on Twitter.
Hashtag Peckers. So with that, we will take the break, and then you'll hear me solo talking very briefly about the Browns, and I'll close with the mailbag and all that good stuff. So with that, here's a word from our sponsor.
Do you shop on Amazon? Did you know that you can support this podcast just by doing your normal shopping on Amazon? It's really easy to do. Just go to thesportstuff.com and click on one of the many Amazon pictures. Do your normal shopping, and Amazon sees that we referred you, and they give us a percentage. We'd like to thank you in advance for supporting thesportstuff.com, and please use our Amazon link. Now enjoy the rest of the show.
We are going round like Saturn's rings. We are going down in an endless sea. Deja vu, like a time machine.
And we are back here on Purple Mafia, episode number 146, which is always a reminder for all of you iPod users and Android device users and all that good stuff. Thank you again for checking in with us today. Also from Dakota Sports FM as well. So many ways to listen to Purple Mafia. iTunes, Double Twist, TuneIn Radio via Dakota Sports FM. Just lots of great ways to listen to this show. So thanks always for that. Yeah, the Vikings will be playing the Cleveland Browns. I almost said the Cleveland Cavaliers because I've got basketball on my mind for whatever reason, and obviously the Cleveland Browns have been a massive non-factor in the NFL for quite a while. Sorry, Vince Germano, of course, who may be listening to the show, big Lakers fan, big fan of Timberwolves Explosion, another podcast I do. He's a big Browns fan out of Australia, a big Cleveland Browns fan, but yeah, unfortunately that franchise since, re-entering the league, we'll call it, restarting after Art Modell left, allowed them to leave all their history in Cleveland after the old Browns became the Baltimore Ravens. So, yeah, really not much new history has been made since then, since 1999. Oh, but Tim Couch was great. No, that didn't work out at all. Yeah, there was a Baltimore Bowl this weekend. Again, the Baltimore Ravens. Or no, not Baltimore Bowl. Brown Bowl would be a better way to say it. There was a Brown Bowl this weekend. And it was pretty brown. It was pretty poopy. Yeah, yep. The Cleveland Browns are 0-2. And they also have an injury to Brandon Weeden, who also has not been very impressive, to be honest. You know, a guy who obviously came out of college very late. Already turning 30 years old on October 14th. Only his second year in the league, that being Brandon Weeden. He has an injured thumb. Yeah, an injured thumb on a throw late in the game that hit a Baltimore Ravens helmet. Man, that's just didn't work out well for him. We may see a Jason Campbell sighting coming in on Sunday. Not sure that that's really much of a downgrade for Brandon Weeden. Honestly, I'm not really impressed with Weeden at all. I feel for the Browns fans. I sympathize with them in a big way. You hate to see a team suffer as long as they have. I mean, they made the playoff. They've made the playoffs once in that reborn franchise history. It's a shell of what the Cleveland Browns once were, the real Cleveland Browns, and what they are now with 2 Super Bowls in Baltimore. Baltimore Colts had a Super Bowl as well, but their team was stripped away as well. So unfortunate to see cities lose their teams and those teams having success elsewhere. It's just the way it goes, though. I mean, hello, Dallas Stars, Minnesota North Star fans. Yeah, they won the Stanley Cup in '99. Sore thought right there. There's also a season preview for the NHL and Minnesota Wild. Check out Brave the Wild. So there you go. Not trying to plug. Honest to God, not trying to. It just happened to come into the conversation because the team is relocating. So apologize for that. Yeah, the Brown Bowl. A 14-6 boring game. Yeah, and I mean, the Cleveland Browns are just... I mean, what is there to say about the Cleveland Browns? They're useless. They really are. There's one player on the team that's really, or at least on the offensive side of the ball, that's halfway decent. That's Trent Richardson, and even he didn't look all that great against the Baltimore Ravens, though not many runners happen to have the greatest games of all time against Baltimore. Just an overall great defense. Overall great defense by the Baltimore Ravens. Trent Richardson only with 3.2 yards a carry, 58 yards, meh. And yeah, you look at it's like, I was looking at the rushing yardage allowed by the Cleveland Browns, and it's like, man, they have the fourth best rush defense in the league through 2 games, but it's like, hey, you got to look at who they played. And, well, Baltimore, well, Ray Rice got hurt. Bernard Pierce, not too impressive either. Actually, had a less impressive game than Trent Richardson. Had another carry, about the same amount of yards, and so obviously only 3 yards a carry. Did get a touchdown in the game, but the longest run allowed in the entire game was 14 yards by Ray Rice. So that's just one. Obviously Ray Rice is a pretty darn good running back, but he's not uber talented. He's not top 3. He's just not. Maybe he's top 5, top 10, but not. Well, I don't know about top 5. More like top 10. Pardon me for that, guys. But no, Baltimore's one thing, but the Miami Dolphins are another. And the Miami Dolphins beat the Browns pretty convincingly in the first game. Was it 23-10? But here's the thing. I mean, Miami has no running back, folks. They have no running game at all. 23-10, that's correct. Great effort by the Cleveland Browns at home, getting beaten pretty soundly by the Miami Dolphins. Ryan Tannehill's a nice up-and-comer. Reed had 3 interceptions in the game, attempted 53 passes. Unbelievable in that game. But, yeah, I mean, Trent Richardson not off to any type of exciting start. But look at Miami has at for running backs. Daniel Thomas, he's done absolutely nothing. His best year so far in the NFL was 153 yards. Was it last year, 2 years ago? Lamar Miller, 10 rushes, 3 yards. Need I say more? Ryan Tannehill got 3 yards rushing in the game as well. So really nothing to offer. I mean, Lamar Miller is like a third-string guy. He's no better than Matt Asiata so far in the league. At best, a 4th-round running back who's gotten 76 yards, career yards in the league. So Miami, absolutely nothing to offer in the running game. So Cleveland's run defense a little bit bloated with really weak opponents thus far. Again, Ray Rice is not a bad player, but he was hurt in the game. So, it's a home game for the Minnesota Vikings, with that said. Adrian Peterson, I think, is going to have a special game this week. I do. I think that little fourth best run defense in football is going to be... Dylan Richardson's just gave me a LOL the Browns live message here. Gotta love that, and that's about it. But yeah, back to Adrian Peterson. Thank you for that, Dylan. That's just hilarious timing there. He's gonna have a breakout game. He talked to Paul Allen yesterday after the game. Just briefly said, "Give me an honest opinion what you think about my game today." And you could tell Adrian Peterson, it bugged him. Paul Allen gave him a response of, I'll get back to you later. It's a little, I don't know what to tell you right now. Give me a minute to think about it. And then Paul Allen came back to, don't you think maybe you're trying too hard to hit a home run on every single play, blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, he wouldn't tell us what Adrian Peterson said after that. Why the mystery? I have no idea. I mean, sometimes these little cliques that players and media members get into, I don't understand it. It's, what's the mystery here? Did nobody died and whatever. I mean, it's not like there's any type of secret, that's really about what Adrian Peterson responded to that. What's he going to say? Bleep you? No, no, he's not going to even say that either. But no, enough of all that. Adrian Peterson's going to break out on Sunday against the Cleveland Browns, in my opinion. I think he's well overdue for that. It is a home game. It's a must-win game for the Minnesota Vikings if they're to be taken any slightly serious this season. Now, a lot of people would tell you the Vikings are pretty much screwed. I mean, you can't lose 2 divisional games right out of the gate to begin the year. And yeah, winning in Detroit is hard. Winning in Chicago lately has been almost impossible, unless you're the '98 Vikings with, Randy Moss catching easy touchdowns against that putrid secondary that they had back then. But yeah, I expect an emotional victory for the Minnesota Vikings. Cleveland's pass defense is it 12th so far after these 2 games, and to be 12th against, Joe Flacco's a good quarterback. Ryan Tannehill is a nice up and comer, so that's not bad. But at the same time, whatever. I'm not all too scared of the Browns. They do have 6 sacks already, though, which is a decent statistic. It's better than the Vikings, I'll tell you that. The Vikings have 2 sacks. No. They actually have 1 because they took 1 away from Jared Allen. They took Jared Allen's sack away from him last week. Oh, boy. Gotta love that. 2 sacks in 2 games for the Vikings. Cleveland, they've deflected 9 passes already. They've forced 1 fumble and they have 1 interception. So the good news there, so far Cleveland has only forced 2 turnovers in the first 2 games. Though don't be surprised if we see another interception from Christian Ponder because you could just tell, like I predicted last week, and it wasn't that bold of a prediction, that Christian Ponder is going to probably throw 20 interceptions this year or more. If he does play all or most of the games this year, he's probably going to get to the 20 interception range, and that's unfortunate. But it's reality. I think it's reality. What does he have? 4 interceptions on the year already, at least, right? Or is it 5? It's, good stuff. Oh, man. But, no, I don't fear the Cleveland Browns, especially not coming to the Metrodome. And the Vikings are so due to finally get to play at home. It's about freaking time. Yeah, the Vikings finally get to play at home. Yeah, Ponder has 4 interceptions. I knew that, I promise. Obviously, I knew that. But it's just sometimes you got to wake up here, sorry, thinking about other things here at the same time, and it's just, one of those deals. No, I don't fear the Cleveland Browns at all. I mean, as an old coworker used to ask me about the Timberwolves years ago, who do they have? And that's what I'm saying about the Cleveland Browns, really. Who do they have? Outside of a nice left tackle, who do they have? Trent Richardson, and he's not really done all that much right now. Brandon Whedon, if he even plays, is not very good. Jason Campbell's okay. Their wide receivers, Jordan Cameron looks all right, I guess. I mean, he's already got 200 yards on the year. So that's one decent player, but really, he's off to a good start this year, but over his career, he hasn't done all that much. So, it's just, who do the Browns have? Honest to God, who the hell do the Browns have? Not much of anything. They really don't. It's one of the most vanilla, one of the most nameless teams in the NFL. I mean, it's the Browns. The Browns are even more of a nameless team than the Jacksonville Jaguars, folks, and that's saying something. It really is. Sometimes you could call Miami that, but no, Miami seems to always have at least one big name, like Reggie Bush, like Mike Wallace, like Brandon Marshall. They always have somebody there. Do the Miami Dolphins, so it's like Jason Taylor, guys like that. Cleveland has nobody like that. Nobody. Oh, but they have Trent Richardson. Again, it's just like, so what? Great, they have Trent Richardson. We're happy for you. Oh, my Lord. Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns. So it's like, what more can I say? The Vikings are going to win the football game. It's more a matter of what kind of game is it going to be for Minnesota. I think it's going to be similar to the Miami game, honestly. I think the Vikings pull off a 24-14 win over the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. Again, Adrian Peterson has a big game. I think he has 2 touchdowns in the game. Christian Ponder gets at least 1 passing touchdown, maybe 2. Depends. A defensive touchdown, maybe, but I don't know. I don't know. I can't pick I can't pick defensive touchdowns with the Minnesota Vikings right now, even though the Vikings defense was dramatically better against the vaunted Chicago Bears. I say that lightly, but yeah, I'm not all that worried about Cleveland coming into Minnesota. It's just you look over. I just can't get over. You just look over the whole team, and it's just there's just nothing going on with that team. Really nothing. Yeah, they have a nice center. They have a nice left tackle. That's great. What do you do? What do you do? I mean, Jordan Cameron. Okay, yeah, he's a tight end, but I'm just saying he's an okay tight end. Not anything to really brag about. I mean, I think I'm really going too long on the Cleveland Browns right now, aren't I? It's, yeah. Whatever. Oh, they have Billy Cundiff, though. Oh, yep, he might miss a field goal in a conference final game. There's a recognizable name, yeah, for a bad reason. All right, enough about the Cleveland Browns. Vikings are going to win the game. End of story. It's a home game. It's not just because it's at home. The Vikings would probably beat Cleveland in Cleveland. They probably would. Even though they've been horrendous on the road for the last, umpteen years, since at least 2009. I mean, the Vikings weren't even good in 2009 on the road, to be honest. But, yeah, they lost all four of their losses were on the road that year. 24-14, I'm going to stick with that number. Cleveland's going to get 2 scores in the game. You know, if they're, at least 2, yeah, I think they're going to get 2 scores. Will it be 10? Will they go all the way up to 17? Whatever, who cares? What all that really matters is I think Minnesota is going to win. I think Adrian Peterson is going to have a huge breakout game. Ponder will be okay, like always. He's going to be Mr. Average. Bill Musgrave is going to be Mr. Vanilla, like he always will be. Hopefully the Vikings defense won't be vanilla. But I don't think Cleveland's passing game is going to scare us, or their running game. So whatever. It's just going to be one of those games where it's just a mediocre team's going to beat a bad team at home. Imagine that. Have you ever seen that happen before? Of course you have. It's not the most exciting game preview, but it just is what it is, isn't it? I mean, whatever. Hopefully Cordero Patterson gets more involved in this offense. Obviously, that's on the coaching staff. It's not on Cordero. I think he's done what he can. I think he's done more than I think he's overachieved for the little amount of opportunity he's been given by this Minnesota Vikings coaching staff. To be honest with you, it was a pretty exciting introduction to the game, wasn't it? But outside of that, it's just give him the damn ball, right? I would love to see Cordero Patterson have some type of at least miniature breakout in this game. Maybe you'll see Greg Jennings score a touchdown. I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. He's due for something like that right now, big time. Don't be surprised at all. No, don't be. So with that, for the sake of just ending this preview of the Browns, because it's just putting me to sleep thinking about it. I'm sorry, Browns fans. Sorry, Viking fans even. But just thinking of the Browns is just, whatever. Again, it is what it is. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to wrap things up with the mailbag segment, the Facebook page, Twitter account, all that good stuff. We'll be right back right after this. Again, we are back here on Purple Mafia, episode number 146. Always a reminder for all of you mobile device users, MP3 players, and all that good stuff. So, now to hear from you listeners out there. Yes, sir. The Mark Carlsons, Sebastian Balls, Brent Jacobsons, the Hall of Fame is back. Yes, sir. Oh, boy. Sebastian, at one point saying, bench Ponder, you gotta like that. That was during the course of the week. Here we go. Mark Carlson was talking about the Detroit game. He said he's still suffering from the rugged loss to the Lions. I don't blame him. Actually, I read that last week. I apologize for that, listeners. Mark Carlson was talking about the Ndamukong Suh. Yeah, he got a $100,000 fine, by the way, so I hadn't talked about that yet on the show. I'm going to keep it super brief. Well-deserved, but I do think suspension is the ultimate way to get to Ndamukong Suh. Mark Carlson saying, nice big fine for Detroit's Suh, and will that help him learn? I hope so. I think suspension is in order for Ndamukong Suh, but of course the NFL has not done that as of yet, which is extremely frustrating. Sebastian Ball's mentioning that Jay Glazer said on Fox Sports that Christian Ponder's on a short leash. Honestly, I agree. I believe Jay Glazer. Of course, Christian Ponder. Of course, Leslie Frazier denied it, saying, Ponder's never on a short leash. Ponder was never on a short leash going into Chicago. Everything's cool. Christian Ponder played with some serious urgency on Sunday, so I'm leaning towards Jay Glazer. You could tell there was a little extra to Christian Ponder in that Bears game, and if you didn't see it, you're not experienced watching football. There was a desperation out of that young man, so it was obviously nice to see him actually look a little more competitive out there. Brent, you posted this last year. Look at you. Yeah, the top of the toilet seat looks exactly like the C of the Chicago Bears and says, coincidence? Yeah, it's funny. I'm not going to lie. It's funny. It does look like a toilet seat, doesn't it? Just teasing him because he posted it last year, too, but it's out there. Another thing by Brent saying that rumor has it Josh Freeman, of course, Tampa Bay Bucks quarterback, might have asked for a trade out of Tampa. If you were the Vikings and the price was right, what do you think? Do it or no thanks? If the price is right, I'd maybe consider it, but it's one of those deals where okay, you get rid of a guy you get rid of somebody in Christian Ponder who's a lot of people at that point you would view as not the guy, right? Not the guy. So then you pick up a guy who also very likely is not your long-term future either. If it was like 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, my feelings of Josh Freeman were quite different. I mean, I thought he was a franchise quarterback, really exciting, one of the great quarterbacks in this league. I mean, the way he ran all over the Vikings, especially passed all over the Vikings in Mall of America Field last year when the Bucs came into town and throttled the Vikings. At the time, I thought derailing the Vikings' playoff hopes against a team that was very close in win-loss record and all that good stuff. The way he tore up the Vikings, I thought, well, he's a lot better than Ponder. It would be a nice long-term solution for the Vikings. No, I don't know. He's obviously another problem child, and his overall game, his skill set, not quite what we thought. So I'm leaning towards no on that, but only because I think, well, you want to say we could do better, but every time we think we can do better, we really haven't yet. You get rid of Tavares Jackson and Sage Rosenfels and all that good stuff, and you draft Christian Ponder. Well, yay. Sometimes the devil you know isn't as bad as the devil you don't know. And not calling Christian Ponder, Tavares Jackson, or all them the devil or anything, but just saying. The bad quarterback you know sometimes isn't as bad as the bad quarterback you don't know. Sometimes it's just the same old thing, or it's even worse. Adam Carlson, gotta mention Adam B. Carlson, of course, host of the Purple People podcast. I forgot to shout out to him last week. Very kind guy. We're about the same age. I'm 34. He's 33. Following the Vikings for quite a while, both of us. We both have always kind of wanted to be like radio or writing or all that good stuff. Adam also writes, so just want to give him a shout out as well. He gave me a nice shout out on his show. Him and Kyle West, good guys, really nice show. So just thought I'd mention that. Even though they're you could call him a competitor and they could call me a competitor, all that good stuff. But in the end, hey, I like to extend my hand and say welcome or hello, and just offer friendship. I'm more of a friendly type. I'm not the type that's like, screw them, hate them, 1 star on their show, all that good stuff. well, screw them. I'm more, say, I'd rather be friendly than a rival with anybody, quite frankly. Unless it involves, like, playing in sports, then it's a whole other story. But I'm never a jerk about it. I just want to win, that's all. But there's no point in, like, kicking down somebody's show when it's a perfectly good show. There's nothing wrong with it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with mine either. So it's one of those deals. And, of course, if they're a good guy, too, it makes it even better. So Adam Carlson is a good guy. Yes. Just like Mark Carlson is a really good guy as well. Now, Adam's out of Michigan. Mark is out of Iowa. God, I love Mark Carlson. Always has such nice things to say. Always posting and sharing Purple Mafia show on Facebook. Always appreciate it. And his son, Anthony Carlson, always interacting with me on Twitter as well. Really appreciate you guys. Just let you know that. I wish John Carlson was as... I wish I had as happy, warm feelings about John Carlson as I do about Mark, Anthony, and Adam. Yeah, John Carlson. Yeah. Well... Yeah, you heard me and Dylan talk about that guy, right? Yeah, hopefully, right? Hopefully you heard it. Yeah. Not positive on my side, I'm pretty sure. Well, let's try to check out the Vikings-Bears thread. I like to do that to keep things organized, but boy, does that thing fill up in a hurry, because everybody kind of just says this and that. Yeah, it was kind of funny how the Fox network, yes, that's right, Fox, they fumbled the broadcast. Yeah, Mark Carlson mentioned that. Sebastian saying this must be embarrassing. Yeah, it was weird, because what's really strange is we kind of sort of blew a little fuse right at the exact same time, which is really weird. So I had to go down to the box and like turn the switch. Not difficult. And I didn't really blow a fuse. Just kind of, it was more of a prevention type of thing where the box shuts off. We all know about what that is, that circuit breaker, whatever. Turned it back on only to see the Fox logo on the screen and poor audio coming out of the TV. Good stuff. Just like, what are the odds of that happening at the same time? What did we get attacked yet by Syria or something? Okay, sorry. Too soon? Yeah, sorry. I'm not gonna. I'm not trying to make any shots about anything. Just yeah. Oh boy, I'm glad we didn't. Praise the Lord that we didn't. Right. Oh, man. Yeah, Mark was communicating with Dave Hickey of the game's out at his house as well. Dave didn't respond in there. And I know Dave posted something somewhere. Hope that can get there he goes. Dave was saying we need to hit the receivers involved. That will open up AP, and it's time for the defense to turn them over. Well, we kind of did a lot of that. It was kind of a surprisingly balanced effort by the Vikings on the offensive side of the ball. But, yeah. Sebastian summing it up here with a little vulgar language there, the son of a gun. Pond Bleeper is having a good half, and he was in the second half. So I mentioned that only because Ponder was having a nice half. Sebastian, I'm glad you said this because it just makes me happy again. Mentioning it one more time is LaTroy Guion. Oh, my God. I love LaTroy Guion. I do. And he'd been kind of invisible as a starter, but he was able to strip that ball out. And Brent Jacobson saying, LaTroy Guion with the theft. Whoop, whoop. Yep, it was awesome. It really was. Mark Carlson. Here we go. I got to mention this because it was a nice, excuse me. It was a nice call that he made. He said, okay, time for our defense to rock the field. Nice call, Mark, he responds to himself there because it was a great call. That was right when LaTroy Guion stripped the ball away. That was pretty cool from Fort. No, I'm just kidding, Forte. I like to call him that because that's an inside joke in my early podcasting days. Cedric and Mark Carlson also getting a little pissed off of the Vikings continuing to kick the ball to Devin Hester. Yeah, I didn't get that either. Viking special teams, well, Walsh is one of the coolest customers I've ever seen as a kicker. And this is only his second year in the league, but the guy is awesome. I absolutely love Blair Walsh. And Locke also had a nice rebound game compared to an awful effort in Detroit. Very cool. Tony Coleman saying that for what it's worth, the game was going better than he had expected it. It was tied at the end of the third. Thought it would have been a Bears blowout by now, and at that point anyway. And yeah, I mean, I was very surprised the way things turned for the Vikings. It was nice. Just unfortunately, everything fell apart. Dave Hickey throwing in that Chris Cook sucks bad, and I can't disagree with that. Dennis Carlson saying, pray for green grass all year so you can mow. He was responding to Mark Carlson, who was saying he was going to mow his yard now. And, enjoyed talking to everybody on here. David Longfield posting a picture of Christian Ponder holding a cup with Samantha Ponder. Very interesting. Christian Ponder having a Band-Aid and bruises on his face. Oh, that was interesting. Malcolm McSween saying at least we forced some turnovers. Other than that, the D wasn't all that good. Not when it mattered, Malcolm. Yeah, they weren't good when it mattered. And that's a drag, isn't it? That's a drag. Ah, man. Yeah, that was a good take, though. Yeah, that was a good take by Mr. Malcolm there. Yes, sir. So, thank you for all the posts, everybody. On there, I'm going to dig around a little bit more, just because I can, and because I like you guys so much, right? Yeah, I had something, and everything just went ape on me. Don't you just love that? Dominic and Sue, we talked about that for a little while, and there it is. Couple comments. I was talking about Dominic and Seuss. Oh yeah, I was saying his agent is being persecuted by the NFL and the media. Oh no. It's like, whatever. Gary Kenny saying, learn how to tackle. Jared Powell saying, you made your bed, and Gary Kenny responding with, he's a dirty player that didn't figure it out with the helmet stomp last season. Pathetic. If he wants to low block practice on Ponder, ugh, look at you. That was good until the very end there. I mean, okay. I understand you're frustrated with Ponder, but maybe let's not call for injuries. It's just, I'm not a big Ponder fan either all the time, but calling for injuries is not really worth it. All right. Anthony on Twitter. So now for Facebook, simply go to facebook.com/Purple Mafia Show. And for Twitter, go just look up at Purple Mafia Show. So very easy. Purple Mafia Show in both cases, Facebook and Twitter. Anthony Carlson tweeting last week saying, still think I'm wrong about bringing in Tebow. It's not even if you're right or wrong. It's just not going to happen. That's kind of how I look at it. It's not going to happen. They spent money on Matt Castle. They're seem to be in bed with Ponder. Not sure they really need to cut McLeod Bethel-Thompson to bring in Tebow, bring in all that attention for a third-string quarterback. That's just the way I see it. I don't hate Tebow, but I don't like him either, type of thing. You know? Yeah. D. Fry. Yep, D. Fry, Chicago Bears fan, saying, thanks for the shout-out on your show, brother, and good luck this week. Thank you so much, D. Fry. Really appreciate it, and I will gladly give you a shout-out all the time. Keep listening if you could, too. Nice to have you on board, my friend. Very, very cool. And there were a couple of those Facebook friends or Twitter friends with Shane tweets, so we'll leave that alone. Justin Day, yep, saying, honored to get the gold star. Thought it would be for the take the training wheels off Ponder, but I will take it. It was kind of going to be for that, but then once you ripped Chad Greenway, it's like I had to jump on board because Chad Greenway is not even adequate right now. And is the question, is he bailing out Aaron Henderson, or is he just this bad? I don't know. But wherefore art thou, Desmond Bishop, the urban legend of the Minnesota Vikings, not only this week, but last week as well. He is the urban legend right now. The urban legend of Purple Mafia, episode 146, is Desmond Bishop. Coach Frazier, Alan Williams, Ziggy Wilf, and God knows who else, put Desmond Bishop in the game. Please. If he is physically capable of stepping on the field and playing linebacker, put him on there. Please put him out there. Please. For the love of God, put Desmond Bishop in there, because this linebacking core is horse bleep. Desmond Bishop at 60% is better than the rest of these guys right now. Again, is Chad Greenway playing as poorly as he is because he's making up for Aaron Henderson's inadequacies at the middle linebacker spot? Either way, please put Desmond Bishop in there and put him at middle linebacker. Move Aaron Henderson to weak side, yes, with Chad Greenway and all that good stuff. Yeah, let's get those guys in the right position. Sorry about the rocket here. I'm being stupid. Yes, for the love of God, please do that. Oh, my God. It's very frustrating. Excuse me. D. Fry saying it's always a good game with Minnesota and Chicago. That was fun. Anthony saying he was looking forward to watching it. And, of course, how could you not be? Then there's some more bouncing around. Here we go. Dennis, that at Kramer9 guy, saying maybe roll to the left about Christian Ponder. Thanks, Musgrave. And it's definitely a mystery there. It really is a mystery with Bill Musgrave and Christian Ponder at times, the way things are going. Justin in Rochester was asking me when I was recording and when is a good time to have him on. Yeah, I mean, I apologize, Justin. I hope you're not mad at me because he stopped tweeting me after I said that. You know, I usually do record Triple Mafia late at night, so it's hard to bring in people to be a co-host. See, Dylan lives in the West Coast, and he's kind of a night owl because he works third shift. I'm not a night owl, but I'm more of a night owl than other people. You know, I don't work office hours. I work second shift oftentimes. So, yeah, I record after work. I prefer to record at night. And if I'm a professional radio guy or whatever, which I like to think I'm already at, but I prefer to record when it's dark outside in the evening. It's just a feel to it. I'm kind of a night radio guy, so some of you out there that get up early or whatever and you want to be on the show, it's not easily done. You can always call in, but maybe you'd like to record at night sometime. I mean, the door is open. I don't always want co-hosts on the show necessarily either. It's kind of a rotating type of thing. But no, I mean, to have somebody on like as a guest here and there, sure. I mean, I shouldn't turn it away either. I'm sure Justin would be awesome on this show. So yeah, I mean, the door is open at least once in a while to the idea. Yeah, it is. I'm just saying, but if anybody's looking for a permanent co-host thing, I don't think that's something I'm looking for right now. That could change, but I don't think so. Matt Emer finally bouncing back again. I miss Matt Emer. We said hello a bit there. Very cool. We got to get to the end here. We got to wrap things up. It's getting a bit long. Final post again. Antonio Fett saying, so as much as it sucks we lost, it was a good game to watch, and it could have been way worse. Is it time to bring in Tebow yet? Oh, enough about Tebow. No, I'm kidding. Oh, Tebow. Okay, well, I've already commented about Tebow. I'm going to leave that as is from here on. As for the game, yeah, sure. It was a good game to watch. It was damn frustrating, and there was a lot of sloppiness in the game, just like the Detroit game. And it seems like every time we play a division rival, the sloppy factor is way high. It's way high. It's up to our gizzards, the sloppiness factor. So, but it was an entertaining football game, and I would have been a lot happier behind this microphone if we could have made some type of play, knock the ball down, pick off Jay Cutler during that final drive. But as Jeff Dubé said on Ventline, when you put yourself up by 6 points with 3 minutes left, you're asking to lose because that team doesn't have 3 downs to pass the ball. They have 4, and they're going to go for it on every 4th down because they have no choice. And generally, when that happens, they tend to move the chains. And when you play prevent defense, it prevents wins. End of story. We will end on that note. Outside of Minnesota is going to beat Cleveland this week. Yes. Don't forget, Purple Mafia is on thesportstuff.com. Don't forget to go to that website. Check out all the shows on there. Of course, I have Tim Rules Explosion and Brave the Wild, but there's other great shows on there as well. You got Without a Curse for the Boston Red Sox, that being Alex Raymer. You have the Courtside Podcast. Yes, the Courtside Podcast with an Australian accent. Yes, sir. Rusty Bennett. And PMAC, you got to love those guys. New York Knicks, Brooklyn Nets. If you like those teams or not, it is an awesome show to listen to. And if you like basketball, you will adore it. And you will adore Timberwolves Explosion too. But, yeah. With that said, thank you always for listening, all of you. Sometimes the mailbag segment's going to be a little long. Sometimes it's not. It's up to you how you feel about it. But I'm going to have it later in the show from now on, just because I think it's a little better. And it's better to do shout-outs late in the show rather than early, if possible. So it's just more polite to the new listeners, especially, and just everyone as a whole. That it's more polite to keep the shout-outs later. So, yeah. Thank you guys for listening. We will be back next week. The Vikings will finally have a win, and then off to London we go. Yes. Hopefully I'll hear from Dan Taylor and Matt Emer then. Yep, the UK, baby. Vikings are going to the UK. Yes, sir. So, until then, take care, everybody, and enjoy this awesome September weather.